We're going to look at ULTA here on the weekly chart. You can see we ended the week with a nice green candle, although we are basically flat more or less on last Thursday's close. We're trading up in those 537s. We're going to see what happens on Sunday night and where we open this new week. Now, going forward, what are we looking at? We're watching this 50-day SMA right here that's currently trading at 538. That is going to be the major key for us going forward in this weekly chart to see if we can climb above that level and then hold. If we do that, and then we're looking up here at that 546, and then outside of here, we're looking at this 9-day EMA or this 573 handle, whichever one does come first. Now, to the downside in here, this 528 level that we just breached last week, that is going to be a major support for us. If that does not hold, then look for the lower trend line of this overall structure, which is currently going to be trading right around that 509 for some nice footing in here. Your RSI is less than neutral, so nothing to worry about in here. But the one thing we do have to worry about is our overall volume dropping off from about a month ago, where we had that large pullback in here off of a huge rejection of that 9-day EMA. But your volume is not actually reverting back below average. It's actually reverting back to average, right? So that is some good news in here overall, but still we would like to see a little bit of volume in here and a nice move and a hold of this 50-day SMA, and then we can start working our way forward. Now, as far as our implied volatility goes in here, your IB rank is sitting at 35, about a $22 expected move priced in by this coming Friday, the following Friday, 34. If you go all the way out to May monthlies, right around a $54 expected move. So everything in here is relatively juiced compared to itself. That's just due to about a month ago, we had that big pullback in here with your volatility. And actually, your volatility has shrunk in here the past 3 weeks, but yet it is still staying elevated just because of this move was so harsh and so quick, right? So overall, that's what we're watching in here. We're watching that 50-day SMA. We're going to see how much this thing can climb if we do get some volume behind it and a nice hold of these key levels. We're also going to take a look at USO in here because obviously with everything going on in the Middle East, it is going to be important to keep our eye on USO. And again, we're just looking at our trend lines here, right? So you can see we're butted up right up against it. That's kind of where we kind of expected things. This trend line has been on here for a couple weeks now, ever since we had these highs back here in mid-March. And now we hit them. So what is going to happen, right? So you're more or less topping out here at the 140 handles. If we can climb above there, then we're looking at nice whole numbers, 141, 142, 143, working our way up until the chart tells us otherwise. But until then, that is going to be our cutoff for resistance to the downside in here. Nothing's really stopping us until the 123 mark, but inside of here, we're going to be watching nice whole numbers, 135, 130, 125, until the chart tells us otherwise in here. As far as our implied volatility goes in USO, obviously through the roof in here, just because of the move that we've had ever since the war, and because the threat of a pullback, right? So the risk is definitely to the downside in here, even though your overall skews are kind of skewed to the calls, right? So overall, the risk in here is to the downside. That's where your volatility comes in, because huge swings to the downside are going to come faster than the upside, right? So any sort of good news that could happen with overall this war or anything having to do with obviously oil, then therefore this thing is going to pull back tremendously. You're going to get a pop in your market, and that's what's going to happen. But right now, green week in USO, green day in USO, green week in the market, green day overall in the markets. And that's kind of what the correlation is as of today. Now, what are we looking at for implied volatility wise? We mentioned it was extremely high to 70. You have right around a $16 expected move priced in by Wednesday's expiration, right around a $20 expected move. I'm sorry. Friday, $16 expected move. If you go out to the following Friday, right around $19 expected move. If you go all the way out to May, you're pricing in right around a $30 expected move in here. So all in all, we're going to see what happens in USO. We're going to watch ULTA as well. And we're going to start to kind of compare and correlate our overall oil to our overall SPY. We're going to see if we get that inverse correlation. Then we'll know we're back in good graces with the overall market. But until then, if everything keeps on rising, then we do have to kind of speculate that our risk is still to the downside overall in USO, but yet we have to kind of follow that overall call skew. And with ULTA, what are we looking at? We're looking for a collapse in our overall volatility and a nice breach and hold of that 50-day SMA on some good volume. So let's see what happens overall in both of these instruments going forward. All right, guys, if you like this video, make sure to check us out on all of our social media. We also have a Discord service if you are interested, and you can find all of our socials in the description below.